Hello, I'm Brandon, and this is my public lecture review. I decided to choose Doctor Who's research on cubicle wombat poop and urination times. His research was inspired on a day his son peed on him. He noticed that his son's urination time was roughly the same as his urination time, though his son was much smaller than him, so therefore he could hold less liquid, and therefore he should pee less. A quick summary to what he found concludes that urination time isn't dependent on the animal's size unless they are very small, such as rats. Animals that are larger, like dogs and humans, or even elephants, have very similar urination times. The average was found to be around 21 seconds. He was still curious on why this occurred and realized that there were various factors that affected urination speeds. He explained that the pee-pee hole and tube for larger animals were much greater, and therefore they had much more help from gravity as they urinated. The diameter of the tubes were also vastly larger, allowing for the flow of liquid to be much greater. This explains why small animals, such as rats, pee much shorter times, as they need to squeeze out just a couple droplets of urine through a very small tube. The pressure that we apply while urinating also matters. In humans, as we get older, our urination times increase because our muscles to urinate become weaker. He also does this section on wombat poop and why it's cubical. It turns out that wombats poop at vastly lower rates than other animals, which allows their poop to actually sit in their intestines, dry out, and just kind of break apart in cubes where they crack. Perhaps his most inspiring section was when he shows a scene on Fox and Friends, where politicians outline the most useless waste of money and research. He pulled the list from Fox and Friends of the 20 most useless pieces of research, and he found that he was directly responsible for 3 of the topics listed there. He fired back, saying the politicians are a serious threat to the scientific community. He outlines various pieces of research that list and shows real-life applications for their findings. For example, he looked at a study called Who Has More Hairs, a Bee or a Squirrel?, which sounds pretty useless at face value. But in this study, they found that bees have vast amounts of small hairs to carry pollen around. And later on, they used this finding to develop a new medical patch with hairs that could carry up to 3 times more medicine per patch. Something more closely related to Doctor Who's research used his findings in animal excretions and applied it to disease tracking. Someone wanted to develop a toilet that could monitor people's diarrhea rates and relate it to a population spread of diseases. This toilet could have saved thousands of lives pre-COVID and would have been a good indicator of an upcoming infectious disease. Perhaps the most important key takeaway that I had is that no matter how useless a piece of research sounds, it has the potential to save thousands of lives, and therefore the politicians that are clueless to the applications are actually a serious threat to the progression of science. I wanted to add on and say there should be research done on the excretion of sweat in humans. Oftentimes people sweat through working out or hot weather, but I feel there could be applications to show the rates of sweating in diseases. One early sign of a disease can be excessive sweating, because your body is working harder to fight off diseases and to keep functions normal. Maybe there can be a small patch developed that monitors the excretion of liquids from your body and that can give off early signs of a serious disease. I don't know, I'm not really a scientist, but I found Doctor Who's lecture very intriguing, entertaining, and educational. So thanks for listening to my review.